Hi everyone, let's do a few more word problems just in case you need some extra practice. Alright, number 5 on those notes, it says a 40-foot tree casts a shadow that is 17 feet long. What's the angle of elevation? Notice this part here, it says please think about where a shadow would go. We've gotten a lot of strange answers in the past, so we really just want you to think about it before you automatically label it somewhere. Okay, let's just start with the tree. There's my tree. Okay. And so from there we can kind of build our triangle. Something like that. It says it's a 40-foot tree, so that means this side right here is going to be 40 feet. That's the height of the tree. But then the shadow is 17 feet long. So think about when you're standing outside on a sunny day and you see your shadow. Where is that shadow located? Hopefully you remember that that shadow is on the ground, right, on the concrete. That's where you see a shadow. All right, so if the shadow is 17 feet long, that means the ground part of our triangle is going to be 17 feet. And then the last piece, what's the angle of elevation? Well, again, angle of elevation is always going to be the one inside and at the bottom. Okay, so once again, I can use my SOHCAHTOA. I can circle my reference angle. Label my triangle, opposite, hypotenuse, adjacent. And I should be able to pick out my trig function and write the equation to solve. Let's see, I know 40 feet, that's opposite. I know 17 feet, that's adjacent. So opposite and adjacent. Looks like it's tangent's turn. So tangent of my angle. Tangent's opposite over adjacent. So opposite, that's 40. Divided by adjacent, which is 17. And since we're solving for an angle, this is where we do our inverse trig. Okay, both sides, but one side they undo. The other side we use our calculator. Alright, so let's type this in. We got inverse tangent, so second tangent of 40 divided by 17. And once again, this 7 makes our 9 round up, and when you round 9 up to a 10, that actually adds 1 to this 6, so it'll be 67.0. And since it's an angle, we've got degrees there, and there we have it. Okay, if you just need a quick recap on some of this vocab, just to remind you what these words mean in relation to a triangle. Vertical, that's always going to be up / down. So if you were to have a triangle drawn, a right triangle drawn like this, vertical side's always going to be that one. Another way to think of it is height. Right? If you ever see the word height, sometimes we call it, let me fix that. Sometimes you'll see the word altitude, like high altitude, right? Altitude is another name for height. Okay, horizontal should be left, right, that side that's moving left to right. So if we had a triangle again, horizontal would be, let's try that again, would be this side right here. Okay, that side. The key words to look for when it comes to horizontal, if it says anything about the base or the bottom, usually our triangles have the base or the bottom as our horizontal side. If it says blank feet from, right, that is another way to say like that's how far away it is, and that's horizontal. And actually, let me add another one in there. It's like how far something is. So how far it is. All of those refer to the horizontal side. All right, last piece, diagonal, that's your hypotenuse. So if we had a right triangle drawn, that would be this side right here. Okay, that's our diagonal. Things that are at an angle, that's what we'd be referring to the diagonal. So like if we're talking about stairs, the length of the staircase, the length of the escalator, like in that other problem. When we talk about a mountain, right, mountains, we're going to have one side that's angled, that's the mountain side. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers what diagonal would look like. All right, so let's try this last example here. It says, a scuba diver sees a group of fish at an angle of depression of 46 degrees. And we've got part of the picture for us just to kind of give you an idea. So he sees a group of fish at an angle of depression of 46 degrees. If the scuba diver is horizontally 15 feet from the fish, how far are the fish diagonally from the diver? So I'm going to turn this picture into kind of a right triangle here. And it could have gone a few different ways, but I always like to keep my horizontal side on the bottom, so it looks the same every time. All right, it says angle of depression is 46 degrees. Remember, technically that's up here, but what good is an angle if it's not in our triangle? So we're going to say, oh, it's the same as the angle of elevation, and put it in the bottom, so 46 degrees. The scuba diver is horizontally 15 feet from the fish, so my horizontal side is right down here. And how far are the fish diagonally from the diver? Well, since it specifies diagonally, I know I'm looking for side X. All right, and once again, we can go through that process of labeling our triangle, opposite, hypotenuse, adjacent, and then based off of SOHCAHTOA, choosing our trig equation, or trig function. All right, we've got the side we're solving for, the side we know, so adjacent, hypotenuse. Finally, we get to use cosine. All right, so we have cosine of 46 degrees, that's our angle, equals adjacent over hypotenuse. So 15 divided by x. Now, solving for a side, we still start it the same way. Multiply by what's on the bottom, and in this case, that's x. One side undoes. The other side doesn't, but here's the trickier part about this one. We're not done. Right? In the last problem that we did, I think, in the last video, I should say, when we multiply by the bottom, we were done because x was by itself. But here, x is not by itself. It's x times cosine of 46 degrees. So I have just one more step to complete, and then x will be alone. I'm going to divide by the cosine of 46 degrees. Okay, and that way x will be alone, and I can type the rest into my calculator. So 15 divided by cosine of 46. Close it up, and that's 21.6. And remember, this is a side, so same as the other side, so this will be feet, 21.6 feet. All right, hopefully you've seen enough examples. If you do have further questions, again, write them down. Make sure you ask your teacher in class. Thanks for paying attention.